Chapter 14.
Bullshit!
Garyx exclaimed.
How did Clemo do that?
Jarius laughed.
I tried to tell you. I made no mistake in picking Clemo.
Rubbing his shadowed hands together, he stood up.
All right, Guardian. You have only one victory, 2 losses, and 1 draw.
He turned to Garyx.
You have 2 victories and 2 losses.
Pointing at himself, Jarius floated into the air.
While I have 2 victories, 1 loss, and 1 draw, proving I have done the best.
Guardian pointed at Jarius.
You still do not have more wins than Garyx.
Garyx laughed.
It is true. So this can only mean one possibility remains. One more fight. Lazan versus Clemo.
Jarius floated down.
No hindrance. 1-on-1, open combat, where neither has the advantage.
Guardian stood up.
I challenge the right to continue to fight.
Cocking his head, Jarius smiled.
You've lost. In order to continue, you will have to offer something more.
The god of man folded his arms boldly.
What can I further offer?
Garyx opened his mouth, but Jarius spoke first.
I want the weapon in your armory. You know the one. You want the weapon Alvaro died trying to get?
This would seal my fate. Guardian sat down, contemplating his options. With a smug tone, the dark god responded.
Take all the time you need.
Jason stood in a darkened abyss.
Jarius has your next orders. I have them for you,
a shadow demon said. I do not trust you or Jarius, Jason said.
You have no choice. His power prevents Guardian from killing you here and now. Do as he says and live. Fail and die. I care not what you do.
The shadow demon hissed. Jason sighed. What does he want? The demon pointed at Jason.
You will take that sword and proceed to the only place it can be of use. You will go directly into the Book of Garyx. There, you will be on your own. No help from my god can assist you. You have no choice in this matter.
Jason vanished without saying a word. The eternal moment of time. 3 gods sat facing each other. A table stood between the gods. On that table was a circular board representing an arena. In front of each god was a wooden piece that looked identical to their champions. Off of this board in the background was a 4th item. Sealed in that clear stone was a simple sword, simple in appearance alone. There was no denying that this sword was what could kill Guardian. He gambled it. Gambling is not a thing the good god of law and humans wanted to do, but it was the only chance he had in stopping these 2 evil gods before him.
You know, Guardian,
Jarius spoke.
I would have done the same thing. That is, I have several other things I am ready to gamble with.
I don't care, Guardian replied, refusing to conversate with the god of demons.
But you should.
Jarius continued, ignoring his disinteresting conversation.
I have 2 armies at my disposal. I also have the remaining 200 layers of the abyss.
He looked at Garyx.
All of those are things you 2 already know.
Garyx laughed.
I have an army of dragon men, an army of devils. I also have the first layer of hell. Are you telling me you are willing to up the ante? Yes,
Jarius said flatly.
I agree,
Garyx said. The two evil gods looked at the good one.
You must match this bet or forfeit what you have bet thus far.
Guardian grumbled in anger, showing emotion.
This was all part of your plan from the beginning, wasn't it? To get both of us to have the final showdown where it all comes down to this. You want me to bet everything. Yes, I do. And yes, it is. I have my human army and my human cities,
Guardian said, folding his arms. Jarius raised his hand.
I will accept your inferior ante.
He paused.
That is, if Garyx will.
The dragon god scoffed.
I accept, but I will not accept a paltry bet again.
Looking back at Guardian, Jarius pointed at him.
Are you chipping in or admitting defeat and keeping what you have?
Guardian maintained a perpetual frown as he nodded his agreement.
Excellent,
Jarius said.
I am upping the ante a second time,
Garyx said, almost laughing.
Oh?
Jarius genuinely expressed surprise. Smiling, he responded.
What else will you bet on our free-for-all fight? My sight,
Garyx said. Guardian narrowed his eyes in anger.
Get on with the fight. These constant delays serve no purpose.
Jarius cocked his head, interested.
That sight can take the soul of any mortal. It can do far more than that. But that is the most notable feature. You will give this up and bear the same sight as a mortal? Do you accept?
Garyx asked.
I do, and I will bet the last two demon lords.
Jarius held up his hand, revealing a white ring.
This ring contains the essence of Pale Night, the Lord of Light.
Jarius pointed to the floating eye behind himself.
That is Dagon. Do you accept? What? Jarius, you cannot bet me. I am still useful,
Dagon said.
Yes, I know you are useful, which is why I am betting you.
The two evil gods looked at Guardian. He held that angry glare at the two of them.
The only thing I am going to bet are my sword and shield. However, I am only betting them if this nonsense ends and the fight begins.
I agree, Jarius said. Garyx nodded.
As do I.
Behind them, in the background, formed all of their various bets, encased in the clear stone. The Godslayer sword, the breath of Garyx, the armor of Guardian. A bubble represented the abysmal layers. Another bubble represented the first hell. A demon army, an undead army, a human army, an army of dragon men, an army of devils, the eyes of Garyx, a sword and shield, a ring, shadow eye, and finally, the human realm. All disappeared from their persons, forming behind them.
All or nothing,
Garyx grinned.
It doesn't matter.
Jarius laughed. The city of Varus. Jason materialized inside of the Church of Garyx. It was quiet and empty. His psychic senses quickly expanded, searching for any hidden evil or dragon man. After a moment, his body relaxed. On his back was the sword of Qatar, which could only kill Garyx. The determined psychic walked to the podium at the end of the church, past every pew. Snatching the tome that sat on top, Jason hesitated before opening it. Closing his eyes, he felt the cover. Psychic energy exited his hand, covering the book. After a moment, the power ended. Jason opened his eyes. This is it. Opening the book, Jason touched the pages as he read the cursed words. Feeling a tugging sensation, he felt his very soul enter the book. The psychic did not resist. The Arena. Klimo, Lazan, and Zane stared at one another. Klimo waved his hand at Lazan. The Dragon Man tumbled left, keeping his head. Smiling, Klimo drew Fission in 2 forms. I didn't think it would be that easy the second time anyways. Lazan flew at Klimo, trying to move faster than the psychic could manifest the same ability that cost him the previous match. Their fight began. Inside the Book of Garyx. Jason looked around, ready for anything, darting his eyes and spinning around quickly to take in the view. He refused to accept that he was safe. I am in a forest, he commented to himself. Touching the tree left psychic energy sparking at his fingertips. This is no illusion. This place is real. It is physical, yet not on the material plane of existence. Fascinating. Levitating his body up, he passed through the trees, reaching the sky. Taking in the view, the temple was seen not too far away. The horizon was flat. Manifesting a far-seeing power, Jason rushed his consciousness miles out, far past his normal eyes could see. There was nothing but flat land. Using the same power a second time, his consciousness jumped further out, finding the same thing. 3 psychic jumps revealed exactly the same thing. Just the temple. Jason returned to his body that hovered over the forest. Turning the temple, Jason willed his body in that direction. He abruptly stopped. Floating before him was a winged thing. This creature resembled a man and a dragon hybrid, similar to Lazan, only more reptilian.
I have been waiting for you,
the thing said in its guttural voice. Have you now? Jason replied.
You are free to enter the Temple of Garyx, just as you are.
Good. Jason didn't move. You may get out of my way now. The creature lifted its 3-fingered right upper claws.
You may not take that sword into the Temple of Garyx. I am here to alleviate you of it.
Jason shrugged. I can't stop you from trying. The creature smiled and screeched, flapping its wings, flying to Jason to attack. The psychic pointed, this thing manifesting a power that caused it to explode. Scales, bits of bone, and leathery flaps burst around, landing on the ground. I have no idea why he thought that was a good idea, Jason commented as he moved his body closer to the temple. The dead thing hissed as the various bloody pieces recombined themselves into a whole creature. An eye fell back in the socket. Its jaw clicked back into place.
Because you cannot stop me.
Jason looked down on the ground where he saw the thing regenerating. He blasted it again, splattering it on the ground into a smudge. Blood gurgled as it flowed back into a central location. Unkillable? Jason asked himself, more than the monster. A mouth formed from the puddle of blood as other parts continued to flop and slither to it.
In here, nothing can kill us.
I've dealt with unkillable foes before. You do not need to die in order for you to no longer be my problem. Jason pointed at the writhing mass on the ground. The surrounding dirt lifted from 5 points under the thing. The dirt rose, forming a large hand holding the thing. Jason made a fist, which caused the dirt hand to close around the thing. Yanking his own hand back made the dirt pull back into the ground, dragging the thing down with it. Jason smiled, satisfied. The psychic continued moving to the Temple of Garyx. Landing less than 30 feet from the large double doors, two robed dragon men stepped forward. They uncrossed their arms, approaching Jason. His own hands sparked with psychic energy. "If you really want to do this, you will lose."
"Fight you?" one dragon man asked. "We would lose. We have come to greet you. Welcome to your new home. You will like it here,"
The second one said. "Let me guess, you're here to take this sword." Lifting up a hand in a peaceful gesture, a dragon man held a calm expression.
"That is none of my concern. My lord has only instructed me on ensuring you have anything you want."
"Oh?" Jason wore a doubtful expression. "I want in there." He pointed at the temple. The two dragonmen moved to the doors, opening them while bowing with one hand pointing inside.
"Our lord is more than pleased to have you enter."
With a sarcastic tone and a frown, Jason responded, "Yeah, this is not a trick." Pointing at both dragonmen with his hands, Jason disintegrated them with but a thought. The doors remained open. The air swirled in the two places where both men were blasted. The ashes spiraled, expanding and changing colors from the gray back to red as they formed the shape of the dragon men. Jason did not move. He only stared at them, watching them regenerate. They returned, holding the doors open while bowing exactly as they were, saying nothing. "Can nothing die here?" Jason asked.
"No worshipper of Garyx can be killed in his domain,"
Both dragon men said at the same time. Jason shrugged, then stepped forward, ignoring the dragon men. They remained silent as he walked past them and into the Temple of Garyx. Door shut behind him. Inside the temple, a swirling dark red liquid floated in the air in the middle of the only room. Jason quickly looked around the room without moving. His psychic senses scanned everything. This is it? Just this room. Continuing to stare at that redness, he focused on it. "I cannot read anything. I sense nothing from it. Yet..." Jason stared at it, confused. Not an illusion, not magic, not psychic. And you are familiar. What are you? Forming into the shape of a man, the red liquid stepped down from the air, approaching the psychic as if invisible stairs were present. "You know who I am," it said in a human voice. "Are you Garyx? I expected a dragon." "No." Its brown eyes became visible. The mask pointed at Jason. "You know me." Narrowing his eyes, Jason surrounded himself with psychic energy. "You are me." "I am your true self," the red mask corrected Jason. "I am what you will be after you submit to the will of Garyx." "What makes you believe I will submit?" "Everyone submits to the will of Garyx. No one has ever escaped their own inner darkness." This red, man-shaped thing charged identical psychic energy around its body. Both activated the same speed of Grotst, then raced around the room, unleashing a barrage of psychic attacks on one another. The two psychics sped across the room, chasing one another. A third Jason stood in the background, unseen by the red one. He smiled as he walked to the center of the room. He looked down into a vertical tunnel that suddenly became visible. That tunnel was dark with no end in sight and appeared to widen the further down it traveled. Activating a far-seeing power, Jason further examined just how far this hole went, only to have his power recoil. What the hell is down there? He looked up, seeing his doppelganger battle his psychic projection. Their battle waged upon the room, repeating after 15 seconds. The two Jasons sped across the room, firing blasts at one another. Teleport twice. One conjured fire while the other conjured ice. Then it all repeated again. Jason watched them repeat this 3 times. Defeat my darkness, they say. No, but I can distract it in an endless time loop. Jumping into the unknown, the true Jason plunged down, waiting to activate a flight power. Slow fall power, a teleport, or anything to keep his body from slamming into the unseen ground. The wall moved further away the farther he descended. Soon no walls were seen at all. Only darkness remained in every direction. Looking up, Jason could not see the entrance to the darkened place. Expanding his psychic senses, he felt nothing spanning as far as he could push his psyche. Every direction revealed nothing for miles. Am I anywhere? He asked himself. Is this all the realm of Garyx has? Nothing for all eternity? Wind passed through his clothing, causing it to flap back and forth. Well, at least I know I am still falling. Or... A vein on his forehead pulsated rapidly. Numbers thrashed around his brain as the math formulated. Releasing the psychic power, Jason vanished from sight. His feet touched solid ground, even through the surrounding darkness he stood on. Clever one, Garyx. Looking forward, Jason saw a glimmer of light that was impossible to see from his above location. The psychic walked towards it, preparing himself for anything he could imagine. Creating an endless loop of falling darkness, but psychic senses cannot pierce. But even I knew that an endless pit is impossible. He stopped walking. The light looked strange. Everything looked strange here. Squinting his eyes, he stared at it. It is rotating. Why? The Metamind closed his eyes, relaxing his body while standing. A quick spark of psychic energy rotated around himself as his astral projection rushed out to get a closer look at that light. Approaching it, he stared intently. The light rotated around, directly touching his astral projection. Ah! The astral projection screamed in psychic pain, ending immediately. Opening his physical eyes, he grabbed his head in agony. Oh, that thing will kill me on contact. His body stammered around, still in pain from the abrupt ending of the astral projection. His hand emitted blue light. The blue glow flowed over his body, moving like a sentient ooze. A soothing sensation took over as Jason held still. Ah, much better. Sitting down to meditate, Jason kept his eyes on the light, studying it. It is static. The rotation isn't changing. I can move past it. Looking at the light extending on the ground, the ray was evident where it touched. And what are those spots of darkness that never moved as the light passed over? I cannot see the end of how far that light extends. I also cannot use my psychic senses to surpass this wretched light. I'm not being blocked. No, the light ends my far-seeing powers. Scrying's impossible here as well. I cannot stay here forever. I have to chance crossing past that rotating light. Standing up, the psychic manifested as many protective powers as he could, as well as his infamous speed of Grotst. Observing the light, Jason moved to the edge where if he passed, he knew that one more step would place his body in its destructive path. All right, here it comes. 2, 1, and his body rushed to the first dark spot he calculated. I have just enough time to make it there, he screamed to himself. Bursting from the ground all across his path, Hands rushed out to grab him, zigzagging to avoid his sudden and unexpected threat. The psychic continued to move to that darkened spot that was invisible without the searing light touching it, but must still be there. Sweat dripped down his face, both from the surrounding heat and the stress of cutting it close. His body abruptly stopped at his destination just as the light reached it. I can see the next spot. I just have enough time. Anticipating light, Jason waited. 3, 2. The instant the light crossed past his hiding spot, he propelled his body to the next destination, all the while dodging those hands that burst from the ground with the soul's desire to hold him in place. Moving in this fashion, from darkened spot to darkened spot, Jason eventually crossed the end of this light. Crossing what only could be described as a line, Jason was no longer in darkness or the path of the light, but somewhere entirely different. This psychic stood in the middle of a large dirt-covered ground that spanned over 100 meters in every direction. Just past that was a 20-foot wall. Past that were seats. Nothing sat in those seats that surrounded this circular place. Those seats were raised slightly with each row, and made it impossible to see what was beyond them. Spinning his body around, he looked in every direction. I am in an arena. Screw this. His body vibrated briefly. Damn, I can't teleport out. What is that? He looked down at someone materializing at his feet. Jumping back to ready himself for a fight, the man was only now recognizable. Clemo, what are you doing here? Jason helped Clemo to his feet. The teleporting swordsman held his chest in pain. All across his body were cuts, bruises, deep gashes, and wounds. What happened to you, Clemo? In a slow tone, Clemo responded. I lost. Garyx won. End of chapter 14.